This right here is Vancouver, Canada, where I was born and raised, and I'm going to be showing you guys a locals guide to this city. Vancouver has so much to offer, so I'm really excited for today's video. Make sure you're subscribed and let's get started. If you've never been to Vancouver, you need to add this place to the list. We're an active city that has so many outdoor activities, great restaurants, and endless things to do. In today's video, I'll be creating a 5-day itinerary for you to see everything this beautiful place has to offer. We're going to be starting this guide at a place known as Granville Island, which is one of my favorite places to visit on the weekends. We are currently in Granville Island today. I'm here joined by my friend Luiza.
Hi! This is one of my favorite places to come in Vancouver. Every time I have a friend visiting, this is the first place I bring them. There's a lot to do, so we're gonna show you guys around.
This place is filled with unique shops, great restaurants, and of course the Granville Island Public Market. This market was first established in 1979 as a location where farmers and other food vendors could sell to consumers. It does operate year-round since it's enclosed, and there are over 50 vendors in the market. We're currently in the flower shop that's right when you first walk into the market, and what I love about it is you can actually build your own bouquet. They have so many beautiful flowers. If you have the time, you definitely need to come and get a donut from Lee's Donuts. However, you do want to give yourself some time because there is a giant line to get it, but definitely delicious and worth the wait. So we have made it to Bridges, which has an amazing view of the city behind me. We got our cocktails. Something exciting as well is this vlog is actually sponsored by Vessi. They are a local Vancouver company and have some of the best travel shoes I've ever worn. We're currently wearing the white Weekender shoes, and what I really love about these is they're super comfortable to walk in. The best part of all, they're 100% waterproof, so if it's raining, it's great in that way.
I've had Vessis for 2 years and I wear them everywhere in Vancouver because they're fully waterproof and it rains very often here in Vancouver. They're the perfect shoe for Vancouver and for traveling, and we're going to be bringing them to Europe with us.
Yeah, so Luiza and I are actually going to be traveling Europe in a few weeks, so you guys definitely need to check out those vlogs. We're both bringing our Vessis with us. We have 2 pairs. I also have the everyday woman's shoe, which I have brought on basically every single trip for the last 2 years, and of course I'm going to leave the link down below so you guys can pick up some of your own. Alright, so we have just parked and we are here in Capilano, and Capilano is definitely known for having beautiful beaches. Obviously the seawall goes through here, so if you're riding a bike or rollerblading, you'll pass through this part of town and you actually have beautiful views of downtown. But today we're actually not going to the beach. We're doing something kind of unique. So a Vancouver picnic company had actually reached out to my friend Luiza about setting up a really Instagrammable picnic, and this is something you can easily book for yourself if you're coming to Vancouver, because Vancouver just has so many cool areas to do something like this. So I'm going to show you guys this amazing setup. A trip to Vancouver would not be complete without visiting the famous Stanley Park. This is a 405-hectare public park in British Columbia that makes up the northwestern half of Vancouver's downtown peninsula. The best way to see this beautiful area is going along the seawall by bikes, and these bikes can easily be rented just outside the park. There is a beautiful greenery here, along with a rose garden, multiple beaches, the aquarium, and a tea house, which is a lovely place to have lunch. You of course have to catch a sunset from the west end of Vancouver, so once you're finished with Stanley Park, you can bike down to English Bay to grab dinner and watch the sun go down. English Bay is one of the most popular spots to watch sunset, and there are a ton of restaurants and cafes here. Just outside of Vancouver, you can find a plethora of mountains that are great to explore year-round. Alright, it is the next day and we have come across the bridge to North Vancouver. North Vancouver is definitely prone to rain. Thankfully it's sunny now. It was raining this morning, so I did throw on my Vessi runners. I'm wearing the women's everyday, which has been honestly a staple for me in Vancouver and also while traveling. So we're gonna go on a forest walk now. I'm gonna take you guys to one of the most popular places to come in North Vancouver as a tourist. I always take everyone in town to this spot. It's really, really cool and super beautiful, so let's go. This right here behind me is the famous Capilano suspension bridge. First ever bridge was actually built in the 1880s, which is pretty crazy. So they have done a lot of renovations since then, and it is quite wobbly, so we're gonna get off it now. Now, people obviously come here for the bridge, but it can get quite packed, especially on weekends. So a favorite part of mine of the Capilano Suspension Bridge Park is actually the skywalk right up there. So the reason I love coming up to the skywalk is because you are literally in the trees, which is so crazy. This place actually, if you come in the winter during Christmas time, I would say is even better than it is now because they have the Capilano Suspension Bridge lights, super beautiful. All these trees here are lit up and it's honestly just a magical wonderland. Also, like I've obviously mentioned, these shoes are completely waterproof, so I just want to do a little test for you guys so you can see what happens when I dip my feet. Is that not crazy? They just like roll off. My sock is completely dry. That's wild. So as you guys saw my little experiment, my shoe was completely submerged and it is actually almost dry. So what's nice is even if it does get wet, it dries really quick, making it the perfect travel shoe. Something that's even cooler than the nature walk in the trees is the cliff walk. Here she is. You can actually hear the water underneath. It's really peaceful. And once again, because we're here on a weekday, there's barely anyone here. So you do feel like you have it kind of to yourself. This is how thin the plank is that we're walking on. I have to say though, one of the best spots for photos in this place has to be this little area right here. People always say when they come to Vancouver that the air just smells so clean because we have a lot of trees here. I have allergies, so it'd be nice if I can smell them. I can imagine what they smell like. We are just finishing up here. I've walked through the entire Capilano Suspension Bridge Park, both sides of the bridge, and it was just such a nice way to spend the afternoon. They do actually have a restaurant and a little snack area here, but what I would actually recommend is heading down to Lower Lonsdale. There's so many great restaurants there. You can hang out at the Lonsdale Quay right by the water, watch the boats, and maybe grab an epic sunset. And one last thing to note, if you happen to be a BC resident, definitely check with guest services on the way out because you actually get an annual pass. So for $55, you can come as many times in the year, which definitely makes this more affordable. And now we're gonna head and check out more Vancouver has to offer. Let's do this. Of course, we aren't going to forget about the downtown core of Vancouver. So on this day, you're going to be exploring Cole Harbour, Gastown, Granville Street, and Yaletown. Since there are so many little pockets of downtown, you can either pick a few to explore in more detail or go on a grand walking tour, spending a few hours in each spot. The one nice thing about downtown Vancouver is that you can get from one end to the other via foot, since the downtown core is quite small compared to other cities. So let's start this walking tour at Cole Harbour, since it's where a lot of the hotels are located, along with the SkyTrain station, so even if you're staying further out, you can easily access here. In the convention center, there's a flyover Canada ride, which is amazing, so I highly recommend you try that out. From there, you'll want to walk east towards Gastown. Canadians are very friendly, so if you're ever confused on where you're going, don't hesitate to ask anyone for directions. Gastown is a famous landmark in Vancouver, and it feels like you've walked into a European city. There's great restaurants, cafes, and souvenir shops, so grab a coffee or snack while you're exploring, and then continue up the street towards the center of downtown. Here, you'll find the art gallery, Granville Street, and a very popular mall known as Pacific Center. From there, you'll walk south and run right into Yaletown. This is a more bougie area of Vancouver and is filled with higher-end restaurants. These are some of my favorites you can't miss. Now, depending on how tired you are at this point, you can either have dinner in Yaletown and call her a day, or if you got an early start and you want to visit even more, you can actually take the Aquabus across the inlet to Olympic Village. There are a ton of small breweries here, so if you love beer, this is the place for you. And the reason Olympic Village is actually called the name that it is because in the 2010 Winter Olympics, this is where the athletes lived. They had a village here, and then they slowly developed more and more buildings around here, and now it's a bustling neighborhood. The Sea to Sky gondola on the way up to Whistler is a must visit as a tourist. And of course, spending a day or two in Whistler is something you need to try and do. Since Whistler can be a bit more on the pricey side, just doing a day trip is a great option as well, since it's around an hour and 45 drive from downtown. And just like that, you've had an amazing trip to Vancouver. It really is one of the best cities to come as a tourist because there are so many different areas to explore all year round. My favorite time of the year is of course the summer, but we also have a lot of tourists that come in the spring and fall since our climate is pretty mild. So let me know in the comments if you've been to Vancouver before and what your favorite thing to do was. And of course, don't forget to shop Vessi. These are amazing shoes for walking around the city because they're both comfortable and they keep your feet completely dry. So in the ever-changing Vancouver weather, they are perfect. So with that, make sure you're subscribed and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!